got you in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, now you beg me please. Hey.
Hey, Gmail, good to see you, love. Gonna give people a few more minutes. There's a lot of people in Turtle Boy's chat, and he said he had updates, so I'm not sure what that's all about, but I'm gonna sneak in and listen and see what he says. However, we're gonna talk about this week's recap, but first, to give people some time to come in, hey, Nico, we're gonna play a song. It's a little vile, but you know what? We're going to be talking about some vile things, but it's hilarious. So I'm going to go ahead and play that while we wait just for a minute. Go grab your snacks, popcorn, whatever you want, blanket, a drink. Auntie Bev apparently likes those White Claws, and Julie Albert too. But I'll be right back.
Bang, bang. Seriously? I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up. Pull up, bitch. I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up. Objection. I will fuck you up. KO. Bang, bang. I will fuck you up. You're a bitch, bro. I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up. Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang. Pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang. Pull up. Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang. Pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang.
I thought that was pretty lit, as the kids say. Right? Bang, bang, KO. So, there are some people who are free Karen readers, as they call them, also known as turtle riders, also known as mindless zombies. And then on the other side, you have anti-Karen readers who just want to see Karen Read go down because they hate her, they hate Turtle Boy, whatever the case may be. And it's very wild to me that you have to be either side. You have to be one or the other. There's no gray area in order to fit into these groups, right? I could give a shit about that. I'm one of those rebels who just follow the evidence. I follow what makes sense and what doesn't, right? And this last week's testimony has been heavy. There's been a lot of details that I think will exonerate or vindicate Karen Read, in my personal opinion, because we obviously see that there is no integrity in especially Trooper Michael Proctor, which they released the text messages. Alan Jackson exposed the text messages sent between other law enforcement and friends, colleagues of Michael Proctor. And they were pretty vile, as we know, talking about poor Karen Read's digestive issues. And, she had how many surgeries? 20 plus surgeries in a very small amount of time. I think it was way more than that. But it's really weird to me how they knew that. How did they know all of these details? Did somebody not like Karen Reed from the jump? I mean, who told them all of this stuff? Now, I do know in the arraignment, the very first arraignment, David Yanetti had explained she was not a flight risk because of all of these medical issues. Excuse me. So there was no way for her, to need a higher set bond. That was David Yanetti's reasoning for Karen Reed. So that was kind of put out there on February 2nd, 2022 from the jump. But I believe he was texting these things that day. So I'm really curious to see what's going on there. Right. So today we had testimony from a woman regarding the Google search of How Long to Die in the Cold by Jenn McCabe at 2:27 and 40 seconds a.m. Way before John O'Keefe was being searched for, way before John O'Keefe was being found, obviously. But everyone on the anti-Karen Reed side is stating, and has stated in the past, that Karen Reed went back to 34 Fairview before he was found. That's the reasoning, which I don't think she even knew how to get there. Let's establish this real quick. John O'Keefe got the directions from a phone call with Jenn McCabe. It's always Jenn McCabe getting into the way, right? It's always based on her somehow, some way, which is ironic. Hey, Magpie, good to see you. Heather, lovely to see you. I hope you're feeling better. So my question is, even if she did make it somewhere around there, which she just connected to a cell tower that was closer to 34 Fairview, it doesn't prove that she ever went back there. And even if she had, John O'Keefe was not there. And we're going to hear that in the upcoming witness testimony of Lucky Laufren, the plow driver, who said, I would have seen a body. I would have seen John O'Keefe out in the snow. He went up and down the road at least 2 times. And then the third time is when he saw the black Ford Edge parked where John O'Keefe would have been found. At 2:30 or 3-ish. So, very interesting to me that there's so many different parts in not seeing John, but somehow Karen coming back, allegedly, which I don't believe, she must have done something somewhere in between 12:41 and when he was found. So that's ridiculous, right? The evidence does not show that. The Sally Port footage, all of these things has not proven absolute certainty that she did a crime, that she did this to John O'Keefe. Matter of fact, we haven't even gotten to the expert testimony of the defense that's going to more than likely put the anti-Karen readers quiet for a while. Maybe. We'll see. I feel like it will. So we're going to go over the social media brawls, including, I'm included in at least 2 of these. So I know your girl Eva's been ratchet, not like Canton, Massachusetts, or not really Canton, but let's say Norfolk and Suffolk County ratchet, but ratchet in my own way with these people on X. And so we'll get into that in a minute. But I want to go into the first expert testimony this morning because, and we're not going to go watch the whole thing because, look, first of all, the angle of that poor woman in the camera was terrible for everyone and for herself. I would be like, could you please get that camera up a little higher? This ain't right. I don't want to be looking like Boo Boo the Fool out here for millions to see on the TV. But it is what it is. I will say, a lot of people were hating on her for her chipperness. I think it was great. Honestly, we need some personality in here because these people on the witness stand are dry. They be dry, really dry. And we needed some spunk here. This is a murder trial. It gets daunting. So I just want to go to the last maybe 5 minutes of her testimony with the prosecution and then when the defense rebuttals. Because I think that it's going to clear up a lot of what she was saying. And look, I'm no expert. But I do know how to Google search professionals and experts who do their own. And from my understanding, this expert testimony, this expert rather, got it kind of right, but also kind of wrong. And I'll explain when we stop there. Today is June 14th, right? Tomorrow is the 3-year anniversary of Summer Wells' disappearance. Definitely going to go live about that. Let's see what, before we start, I do want to see what's the latest because I haven't caught up in anything yet regarding the news. Let's watch and see what's going on lately.
All right, let's get right to that breaking news in the Karen Reed murder trial we're following for you right now. The judge ordered the camera to be shut off, the TV camera to be shut off after an issue with the live feed this morning. And now we know a juror has been dismissed. So here's what we know. NBC 10 Boston analyst and commentator Sue O'Connell, who has been in the courtroom from day one, was there when this all happened. She says,
Ooh, boy, I'm telling you, that taillight didn't look like that. Not on that footage. Anyway.
A juror was brought into the courtroom from a different entrance for a sidebar this morning, and that juror was accidentally shown on camera. The video has since been deleted. It has been removed, but multiple other jurors were then seen at a sidebar with the judge, and that first juror who was shown on camera was no longer in the courtroom with the trial when testimony picked back up. The judge did say that a juror has been dismissed.
Uh-oh.
Right now, a forensics analyst is testifying on the stand as we speak. A reminder that testimony is streaming for you live. We're using different cameras this morning, the courtroom's cameras instead of our own TV cameras. That's happening on our website, NBC10Boston.com, as well as our...
Okay, so I was confused. I came in late watching the trial this morning, and I did not understand what the jury issues were. Yeah, I heard about the turban thing, Grandma. I don't know. That's insane. I didn't know why there was an issue with the jury. I didn't even know it existed until somebody said it later when I was watching on the break. So I guess that's what happened, yeah. But that's kind of silly. Like, you can't know who the juror is? I didn't know that you couldn't just simply be on camera at all. I didn't know that. And I don't know if it was just an accident. It happens, I guess, but I think it's silly. Maybe there's a good reason for it. To protect them from any outside bias. I guess. Not sure. So I like going to WCVB. All right. Actually, we're going to go to the first part. That's the wrong day, Eve. We'll get to that. Yeah, that's why I kind of like it. Because there's no chat. So that I don't get distracted and miss something. That's kind of why I like it. That's why I choose it. All right. A lot of ceiling fans.
So there's a lot of places that we can recover data from. And
now she does mention something about pandas. She could be, Jenn McCabe could Google search pandas. I can't prove that it happened or didn't happen if the data doesn't exist for her to say one way or the other. Totally get it. However, However, we have to understand, and she's going to explain in the in cross, Yanetti pretty much breaks it down very simply. So you can't say it did or didn't happen, and you were given limited information from the trooper, right? Right. So that is the biggest thing for me. It's like you were only given a limited scope of evidence to work with, which is a lot of the problem in this case with the investigation, hence why it's under a federal investigation. So at the end of the day, your expert testimony could be great and wonderful, but if we know that it's limited and it's purposefully limited, what difference does your testimony make at the end of the day? That's why the defense didn't argue until the cows came home about anything. And a lot of people slight the defense for that. And I'm like, well, yeah, the testimony is not worth a damn if they know better, first of all, because of what they know from the federal investigation and the TUI report, evidence that was provided to them. If they know something, they're not going to fight all day if they know that they could prove otherwise later. Nico says, wait, I heard a juror was seen speaking to a witness. I could be mistaken. I'm just going based on what the latest news is. I'll look into it a little more as we're watching this. All right. Let's watch for just a
Anytime I
minute.
see an entry marked as recovered, and I'll use the term recovered instead of deleted, by Celebrite, and the source is a write-ahead log, I would go and begin reconstruction of the write-ahead logs using Sanderson's forensics tool to get to the meat of, is this something that it has been deleted, or is this something that has yet to be written to the database? You can often see remnants of that based on how many unique entries there are of it. What the other thing we do is, so I mentioned that when we have the WAL file, it hasn't been applied. So if I take the SQLite database and the WAL file out, and I make another copy of them. So I've got one copy I'm looking at Sanderson, and I take another copy and I actually open it. What's cool is it does the commits. So then I have a copy of the database that actually has all those changes.
Okay, I know that was probably confusing, but basically, she can see the breakdown when she opens that. Basically, she's finding artifacts in that database, from my understanding, meaning breakdowns of what events were occurring where. So, for instance, not necessarily a user deleting something, but a tab being closed, okay, or going in the background. Those WAL databases that we've heard today, as complex as they can be, and honestly, it's really sad that you would have to rely on information that's temporary and housed temporarily, which is what this WAL data base does, is unfortunate. I always assumed that every single step that you took in a phone was traceable, but I guess it depends on a lot of different factors. What I'm trying to get at is that her testimony, what she is claiming for the prosecution, is that she cannot confirm that Google search happened, going into the drill down of the limited amount of data that she was given from the mirror image of Jim McCabe's phone from Massachusetts State Police. I believe Mr. Keefe did it. Either Garano, or I think Garano did the gray key. I'll get back to that. At the end of the day, she is stating that she cannot tell you that she searched, Jen McCabe searched it with her fingers in the Google search within Safari. All she knows, and what she was trying to allude to, was that she does know that there was a search for that stupid game that she was looking for her kid. The basketball results, game results. That's fine and dandy. But that was already there when Jenn McCabe pulled up her phone. And I'll get to that analysis of Mr. Green, which is the prosecution's expert witness. We'll go through that data. This is crucial. Everybody thinks Jenn McCabe is vindicated today. She is not vindicated yet. Not yet. Don't, put the cart before the horse. So she's about to go blabbering on. But once she gets to the part, I believe, where she's talking about food, I'll stop it.
So I now know if the entry was deleted by just comparing the two. So I can do that analysis by basically making the database think it was reopened, by reopening it with a non-forensics tool in that instance, just to see what it would look like in real life. And then I can look at the difference between the two and determine if something was marked for deletion or addition.
Now, are there different reasons from your training, your experience, and your knowledge of these systems? Is there different reasons for why it's your conclusion that that particular search or those search terms were not deleted by the user specifically?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of reasons. First, the way tabs work from a functional perspective, you can close a tab, but there's not really a user deletion function for the tab. And there was no evidence of other deletion, if that makes sense.
So you don't delete a tab, right? You close it. You execute its closure, which I assume would be a legitimate entry into the database. But again, I'm no expert. See, this is my mind. I'm thinking every single step that the user does should be traceable, going back into movements. And again, the prosecution's, the defense's expert, Dr. Green, in the filing stated that here is what I could trace. I know that Jenn McCabe opened her phone between this time and this time. She deleted 2 screenshots. She sent 2 text messages, right? And then the Google search of House on the Dying Cold happened at 2:27. So she was active in between the times of this Google search. So I'm not understanding why this expert could not have expounded on that. Could she have not done the analysis with what she was given?
It doesn't make sense that the term was, I don't see evidence that the term was searched prior to that 624 time. So since the term wasn't searched prior to that 0624 time, the existence of the tab being closed would not mean that that search was deleted, because then it would be evident in the other databases pertaining to the actual search, not the databases pertaining to the state of the tab.
So she doesn't have that. She doesn't have that information. Does she have the Google information? No. Mm-mm. Does she have Jenn McCabe's Verizon records potentially housing that information? Mm-mm. She doesn't have the drill down. Mm-mm. But I think I know who does. Mr. Green, who will testify to it, and the feds.
Is there a possibility that the tab was closed? Absolutely, but that is not a deletion. Secondly,
She just said, could that mean that the tab was closed? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean it's a deletion. Okay, correct. I could see that. But you basically just admitted that she could have closed the tab that housed the search, right?
existence in the wall file, as we mentioned, could be that it's something new, not something that was deleted. So just its mere existence in the wall file doesn't mean it's deleted. I should say that that same X in the tools, you have to check the file because It could be from a free list or a free page, in which case, I know we didn't go into those details, nuance of SQLite databases that actually doesn't pertain to this. However, those would be truly deleted items. So there's other places where we would expect potential recovery, not necessary in this instance. And you can have something that's in a WAL file and deleted without being in those other locations. Just stating that its existence in the WAL file itself doesn't mean deletion, but there are other SQLite things that would clearly indicate deletion that aren't applicable to this particular search.
So you're saying that there's ways to find out that information. Were you not able to do so with your limited scope? Does that make sense? Hey, Julia. Glad to hear from you as well. Yeah, I'm getting back into the groove slowly and surely. It's been a wild year already. So let's keep listening. Good to see you, love.
Now, Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could ask Ms. Gilman to publish figure 1 from Ms. Hyde's report.
Ma'am, thank you, Your Honor.
And again, Ms. Hyde, you recognize what's up on the screen?
Yes, this is figure 1. This is a direct screen capture from Sanderson's tool from the browser StateDB, limited to the Haas long to die in cold search.
If you could, using that laser pointer, again, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, is significant or of note that you observed in using the Sanderson tool that's depicted in figure 1.
Absolutely. So all of these searches are the exact same term. And here we have the order index. And here we have that last view time. And by looking at the last view time, which is the raw title of that artifact for the timestamp we were looking at, these are identical. This, and more importantly, are even the actual UUID for this is limited just to the tab. We would look at the mobile Safari plist, which has 1 entry for this timestamp, or knowledge.
So, gonna jump forward here because basically we're not gonna really know the database details that she explains. The main point is there other avenues to find out if she freaking Googled this and when she Googled this? Yes, Google records, potentially Verizon, which the courts got those records on the 3rd of June when they had the original boofed Verizon records way before that. And they held on to them and didn't say anything. And then it was the wrong user, which was Verizon's fault, maybe. I mean, this is ridiculous. So that's ridiculous. Sorry. That's just absurd for the court to drag their feet on that for the defense. But going forward, so we know that there is other avenues. She does not have that. She does not have the capability to look into that. She's only looking at the Celebrite details. Let's jump into David Yanetti.
For how long, at that moment, Apple produces a suggestion for
Hey,
how long
Mr.
to digest
Eve.
food. The search is instead completed with how long TI die in CKLD at 6:23. A new search is conducted at 6:24 of HOS long to die in cold, Haas long to die in cold. That search is then the last search that is made in that particular tab. And that's my conclusion.
Okay, you just heard it. This is what makes me go, I don't need anything else. I don't need to hear anything else. But it's whatever. She Googled how long to die in cold the same way that 2:27 a.m. search happened. But the one before that was really bad. Okay? The one that she Googled originally at 6:23 was all sorts of over the ridiculous. So she corrects that one with the house long. You would think you'd be a little bit more attentive when Googling it this time, because it's asking how long to digest food, right? That was the suggested search. I'm going to let y'all know here in a minute. Let's just jump into it. Why not? We don't need David Yanetti to tell us. We got the report right here. Let's just get into it. So this is the affidavit of Alan Jackson in support to pursue Jennifer McCabe and Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor's cell phone data. Okay. Let's go to Mr. Green. I got to convert these. Sorry. While we're waiting. Mr. Eve says, sorry, these kiddos are being needy. It's on your side, not me. I don't think I've ever been needy in my life. Just kidding. Yeah, Mr. Eve, thank you. When we're going to look at David Green's report. Oh, that's not true. Maybe I opened the wrong one. Sorry, I did. One second. I'm going to pull it up. One sec. Gotta go to Sleuthy Goosey's awesome breakdown of everything. God, if we didn't have that, if we didn't have this Google sheet listing out everything, I don't know where we would be. Any of us. She did an amazing job. Let's get them all up. Okay, that's, yes, the good one. The details. All right. Throws an ice cube. You should be throwing ice cubes in my chat. So, Richard Green, why do I call him David? What's wrong with me? God, I'm going to have to apologize to all of the damn David Greens in the world. You know how to do the other one, right? Anyway. So, who is Richard Green? A data forensics expert with the United States Forensics LLC. I'm a certified computer examiner with the IACFAE and hold certifications in cybersecurity, computer crime investigations, and digital forensics and computer investigation. He's got some knowledge. So the following facts and information are based on personal knowledge and could testify if called on. So he received cell phone data images of 2 iPhones, Jennifer McCabe's and John O'Keefe's. Now, why couldn't they just grab the phone? That's always been my question. Why could they not have just received the actual phone, right, from MSP or coordinated it as such? Why did they have to get the image? Who got it back? Where's John's phone now? You know what I mean? I know that it's in evidence and all of that stuff, you know, but they charged her now. They need to be able to acquire the evidence and test it. It's just really odd to me that it wasn't the actual phone right there. You know, that's just me. But we know why Jennifer McCabe's phone wasn't physically able to, because she got a new phone. So, Richard Green got both of the phones, Jennifer's and John's. The images, not the phones, excuse me. And they were processed and reviewed with Cellebrite Physical Analyzer, the best version out there at the time, and Exaome Forensics. He also used Belkasoft and all of these other things that I don't even know about. This was his analysis of the phone. You're going to hear this more than likely when Richard Green testifies soon. So, forensic image of this serial number, blah, 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 blah. The search history. Okay. In his professional experience, the device's internet search history often gives valuable clues as to the user's intent or knowledge surrounding an incident. Like I said before, that expert that we just watched cannot use or does not have the information rather that the defense does, and this expert will. So I conducted a review of the search history information and observed the following artifact from the morning in question. Search term, house long to die in cold. At this time, 2:27 a.m. Here is the URL that he got it from the Safari client. And it shows the UTF, which is what? What's it called? No, that's not it. I know it's the timing. But I think, isn't that New York timing? -8. Anyway, the source, Safari suspended state tab, meaning she wasn't actively in the source prior to this search because her phone was either off or whatever. She brings it up. The state means deleted. So when she's Googling in Safari, she's bringing it up after that suspended state because whatever she had in the background, I guess that basketball game results was probably there, and then she just typed in house long to die in cold. Thus, search history information obtained indicates that at 2:27, the phone's user entered the following search in Safari, house long to die in the cold. In order to confirm the accuracy of the search, as reported in Celebrite, I independently performed a low-level analysis of that artifact, which was located in the browser state write-ahead file, WAL file. They're temporary in nature and show the location where data is written before commitments to the main databases are made. Let me repeat that. Write-ahead files are temporary and show the location where data is written before commitments to the main database are made. So the main database should have what actually happened, right? Because again, WAL files are temporary in nature. The initiation of something to come. The particulars of this artifact are as follows. Its location in the mobile library Safari browser state WAL file. Here's all of the raw data. Time converted into UTC. Adjusted to local time, 2:27. Thus, I was able to independently verify that the time, date, and fact of the search reported in Celebrite was accurate. Significantly, Celebrite further reveals that the search was therefore deleted by the user. Remember, she said it doesn't necessarily mean that she deleted the actual search, with her own explanation to things. So why does Richard Green say otherwise? That's my question, right? The browser state database. The browser state database. Is that a WAL? I don't think so. He hadn't said it yet. Is that located in the WAL? I don't think so. This allows the user to leave the application and then return it at a later time to resume the browser session. The individual tabs can be deleted by the user. Let me repeat that because a lot of people skip this, even the ones that have been watching this case forever. The individual tabs can be deleted by the user. Here, Celebrite indicates the search for house long to die in the cold was deleted by the user. The user did it. Not what Miss Ma'am was saying, where you exit out and the WAL file says it's deleted because she's no longer looking or using that state of browser. And that's not what Richard Green is saying here. So does that mean that she deleted the tab meaning exiting it off, going into Safari, and deleting something else. I don't know. I really do not use Safari browser like ever unless I have to. So I really don't know. So I don't know how it works, but I also performed a timeline validation of the 2:27:40 a.m. search by confirming that the device was in use at the time of the search. The following artifacts support that interaction with the phone during this period. So what she did, zoom. The iPhone was unlocked between 2:23 and 2:31. Text messages were sent at 2:25 and 11 seconds and then 2:25:56 seconds. She's quick. She's quick on them text messages, brah. Her fingers just be flying. She was a busy woman. So that was what she was doing. And then 2 screenshots were deleted at 2:26. Right after that 2:25 text message. 2 text messages, which are unknown. We do not know who and was involved in that. But I got to show you something here in a minute that somebody told me as if they had insider information. I don't know where they got it from, but you're just going to have to trust that that's what was said to me. It's on X right now. I'm going to pull it up in a second. So after the 2 screenshots were deleted, the search for how long to die in the cold was entered at 2:27. Thus, the data unequivocally establishes that the individual using Jenn's phone searched how long to die in cold on that time. A further review of this conducted several similar searches later, which we all know about, the 6:23 and the 6:24. This is what I was talking about right here. Excuse me. 1:29 at 6:23, Jenn McCabe saying that Karen went, Jenn, that shit, screaming her name. And then Google hypothermia. Google, how long does it take to die in the cold? So see what had happened is she boofed it and Googled it this way. All wrong and stuff. I think she might have done it on purpose. I don't know. Then she Googled at 6:24, how long to die in the cold, the way that it was originally at 2:27. Do you really make the same mistake twice? I don't think so. House long. Mr. Eve, you're in trouble. No, that was really good. That was really funny. So Richard Green also locates an additional artifact, which was recovered from the Safari catch records. I used to call it cache because I'm dumb. I have learned since then. I am teachable. So the Safari catch records and indicates that the user also conducted the following search. How long does it take to digest food? She also deletes some call logs that she says she never did, hinting that maybe Mr. Proctor did, but not hinting. She just knows she didn't. So, skipping all of the hoorah, she deletes, I believe, 20 plus calls, 28. There are 17 calls listed on John O'Keefe's iPhone, which were deleted. There are 8 calls listed on Karen Reed's iPhone call log referencing Jenn that was deleted on her phone, which I don't know why she deleted it. I don't understand that logic at all. Hey, Jeep girl. Good to see you, love. I just don't get it. I don't know why she did what she did. I really don't. So, further analysis was performed with exome forensics, which suggests that there are significant deletions of call data by the user of Jenn's phone, okay? From 10/24/2022 to 1/27/2022, only FaceTime call data is recorded. Only FaceTime call data. Do you see where it stops? See that? Well, let's take a little sidebar into day 15 of the Karen Reed trial, and let's listen to what she says. Let's take a little gander. Let's listen. Bang, bang. I know this is y'all's favorite person to watch. It is mine.
Is that why you did it?
No, that's not why I did it. I was talking to the two girls.
When you got home, what did you do?
I went up to bed.
What time do you think you got home?
Somewhere after approximately, between 2 and 2:15. I'm
Took you a few minutes to drop the girls off?
correct.
When you got home, you got on your phone, correct?
Yes,
Before you got on your phone, you went upstairs to your bedroom.
yes.
Did you use any applications? Well, let me ask it this way first. Did you make any phone calls just using your phone? Any phone calls after you got home, either downstairs or upstairs?
I do not believe so.
Did you use any applications to communicate with anybody through Wi-Fi? Do you know what I mean by that? Like FaceTime audio or WhatsApp, phone calls, things like that?
Text message?
No, actually, and you may not use these, but I'm asking, did you use any kind of third-party app that uses Wi-Fi, VoIP calls, other than just a phone call?
No.
Okay. Sounds like you don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. So it's safe to say that you didn't use or you don't use any multimedia to communicate. You don't use FaceTime or Snapchat or Signal or anything like that.
I've used FaceTime with my children, yes.
Not for phone calls.
No.
Like FaceTime audio is a way that you can make a call. No?
I've FaceTimed with my kids at school, but,
That's videos. Right?
oh, okay, so yeah, I guess not.
You didn't do that night either.
Not that I recall.
Did you, now I'm going to get back to your question. Did you text anybody?
I did, yes.
Who did you text?
I texted my sisters, and I texted my husband and a friend in a group chat.
Oh, you did? So you texted after you got home. You group texted with your husband who was in the house and someone else, right? Were those the ones that weren't deleted but were captured? By the way, they're unknown who they are at this point. Okay. So you're telling me you were texting about some whatever. You have 2 screenshots that were deleted at 2:26, and then you Google house on a die in the cold. So let's go to Twitter or X, and let's see what a person named Carrie Lama, who has apparently been pissed off by Turtle Boy because he called her out for calling people's workplaces, which is ironic. I know. Don't come at me. So anybody that was pro Karen Reed that rubbed her the wrong way, she was actively doing some fuck shit. And so this is what she said to me. She told me what it was, y'all. She told me that the texts were about basketball. Let me pull it up. Sorry. Why is it not showing all of my stuff? Don't get me started on Icky Mill, by the way. Here we go. Mama Llama is this Carrie chick. I said, House, do you know what the group text was about at 2:25 a.m.? Are you the friend? Let's clear it up. Because earlier she said, when I posted, I'm wondering about that 2 a.m. group text, are you serious? The defense is fully aware who was group texted that a.m., and they are aware what was said and who was in it. They didn't discuss it because it had nothing to do with the case. It was a basketball text and a birthday party text, if you must know. And I went, oh, cleared everything up. But you know me. Can we prove this? Were you the one? Were you there? Did you text? Let's clear it up. I have not received anything back yet. Not yet. Hopefully, maybe she will feel it in her heart to prove it. Because why would the defense ask otherwise? They kind of, or Alan Jackson rather, referenced some FaceTime. Did you FaceTime anybody? Did you use any VoIP? Did you use any multimedia through Wi-Fi? So let's jump back into the testimony of Jenn McCabe.
You texted your husband and a friend in a group chat?
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Your husband was home?
Yes.
Okay. I want to switch gears for a second. And ask you real quick about later that morning when you went to John O'Keefe's house. You mentioned on Friday that you went into his house and began to look around for him when you first got there with Carrie Roberts and my client, Karen Reed, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that you looked in his bedroom and saw that the bed was made, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that you looked around other parts of the house looking for him, searching for him, is that right?
Yes.
You obviously saw the blankets and pillows on the couch downstairs in the living room, correct? As well as you 22, is that right?
Correct.
Over the phone at 4:53 a.m., she asked the question, did I hit him? You see that?
I do.
Number two, on page 192, talking about when y'all were in the car on the way to the scene, Karen asked the question, could I have hit him? You see that?
Yes.
Page.
Okay. I think it's the next day that she talks more into the phone data. But Carrie Lama said it was about basketball and a birthday party. And it's very interesting that she is busy doing other things, like Googling House Lana Die in the Cold when John O'Keefe is found dying in the snow or found dead. Very interesting. But she'll pause just for a minute to talk about her daughter's basketball game from earlier that day, I guess. So jumping back into the artifacts of Richard Green's affidavit, he was also able to locate an additional artifact, which was recovered from the Safari Catch records, where it has all of the other searches from 623 onward. So it's able to look into the database, right? The Safari Catch records to see what all was done. And I think that's why Richard Green is saying it was deleted, because it should be here and it's not. Does that make sense? Bye, Heather. Good to see you, hon. Rest up, please. Does that make sense? It should be here and it's not, or otherwise it could not exist. So why isn't it in the main database parsement where did it come from? Does that make sense? It's not always about what you can see, it's what you can't see, and why isn't it seeable? So, jumping into the deleted call logs again, there's only FaceTime call data within this range parsed by exam. No call log data found in the call history store data main storage location. Why? Why was there no call log data found in the main database for call log history for the day before? I would love that answer. And you're going to hear it. You're probably going to hear Richard Green explain why. Yes, Jim McCabe did say no FaceTime that I recall. Maybe Celebrite can recall it for her. Maybe. So let me go scroll back up here. There were indications of calls found in the Knowledge C database, which records various user activity, meaning I dialed this number was inputted into the keypad, things like that. What did the user do? But the stored data main storage location should have a record of the actual activity. What happened? Call this time to whom? The call log. So she could say all day that something cannot be determined if it doesn't exist for her. It's about what doesn't exist that should. And everybody on the internet who is anti-Karen Reed doesn't care because, if the glove does not fit, you must acquit thing. But it is sometimes a little bit more complicated than that. And I'm hoping Richard Green can clear it all up. I bet he will. And of course, the whole deleted calls. That's a big thing for me. That call history store data, again, is on the main database. But only yet 2 of them were on Jenn's phone. Where did they go? Where's the other part that can confirm this? The calls were there and who deleted them, right? And why couldn't Celebrate recover them? Well, he says in order to obtain a complete accounting of those calls, he needs to obtain the detailed call records from Jennifer McCabe's phone carrier and cross-reference that information with the data obtained from the analysis of her cell phone. And then again, as I said, on 6/3, Verizon records came in from court to court. It was a court order, by the way. And I will also say that the court order was because Karen Reed appealed the decision that the court, Judge Beverly Canoni, made denying these records from Jim McCabe and I believe Brian Albert. So they went to the appeals court process and they won. That's why there's a court order. The judge was forced to oblige the appeal. Good for Karen Reed. Good for her. And good for the defense team. Good on them. So that's why they got the records in so late. Or that's why they got them in the first place. Even though they were late. So here's some location data, which is very interesting. We can get to another day. But that location data references that from the CellHawk application, I guess software. It shows that she was at home at 2:27 searching this. Not at, where was it again? 34 Fairview when she Googled it for Karen Reed allegedly at 6:23 and 6:24. She was at her home. So they got the health data information. We can do that another day. Here's all of the steps of John O'Keefe's phone, But let's listen to the conclusion, then we're going to move on. In order to properly investigate O'Keefe's death and recover critical information, we need her records, including iText, iMessage communications, search history, web browsing history, location data that may have been deleted during the relevant time period. I can only obtain this information by creating a proper forensic image of extraction of the cell phones themselves, which they did not get, right? Or any potential backup sources such as computers, cloud storage platforms, synced devices like tablets. Once I have created a forensic image of the devices and or the data, not from the source they got it from originally, obviously they're having issues getting the data right. They need it from the original source or the original data outside of Massachusetts State Police and the prosecution. So that's what he was asking for. Because then he can run various tools. And we don't know, I don't know, what Richard Green is going to testify to and if there's any new findings on that. They don't have to prove who did anything. The prosecution does. Right? Remember that. So just hang on the whole Jenn McCabe is vindicated. No, ma'am. No, sir. She's not. Not yet. And maybe never will. We'll see. So he was asking for this information in April of 2023, which is ridiculous. A year and 2 months later. So he has to have this information to do that thorough forensic analysis. Here's the exhibits of the extraction report. How long to die in the cold? Safari source file. Deleted. Then you get the point. You get the point. There is one thing that I would like to show, however, that I think is interesting, and it's saying that there is no parsing information available. There was like a little note on the report that he pulled from Celebrite. Oh, there's a screenshot, by the way. This is the screenshot that was deleted at 6:08 a.m. It was created and then deleted later on at like 12:53 p.m. It's Uncle Brian A's contact information. Why? Who were you sending this to? What is this? It could be nothing. I just really am interested to see what that is. But on the Trooper Garino or Keefe, one of those. And yes, there is a trooper named Keefe. I think either he or Garino's report says that you cannot parse the information further. It has like a little exclamation mark on it. Who fudged with that? Somebody could have fudged with the data so that it couldn't get broken down by other experts, which causes reasonable doubt for me, even if it didn't happen. Could it have? Can you prove it? There you go. The defense has another reason to put doubt in this case. It's about what you can prove and what you can't. I'm jumping to the defense now. Let's see.
There was in use, and there were continual searches due through the night. The phone was, I do agree with Mr. Green's findings that the phone was in use at that time at 0227. Later, the phone a web search is done at 6:23 a.m. For how long, at that moment, Apple produces a suggestion for how long to digest food. The search is instead completed with how long TI, die, and CKLD.
And here's the infamous ceiling fan. Don't you just love it? Gotta love the ceiling fan. We should make shirts with this ceiling fan on it.
Commonwealth that seek to introduce and admit as the next three exhibits, Table 1, Table 2.
To an hour, whatever.
Commonwealth that seek to introduce and admit as the next three exhibits, Table 1, Table 2, and Figure 1 from Ms. Hyde's report.
Okay. There's no objection, Mr.
There is
Yanetti.
no objection, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just Table 1, Table 2. I think the order I gave him. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hyde.
Good afternoon, sir.
Ms. Hyde, you just spent maybe 45 minutes to an hour, whatever the time period was, explaining to these jurors what is really a complex set of facts that led you to conclude that the 2:27 a.m. timestamp on that Google search was triggered by the closing of a tab. Did I essentially sum that up correctly?
Essentially, except it's not a 2:27 a.m. timestamp on a Google search. It's a 2:27 a.m. timestamp on a tab.
Fair enough, thank you. And in the context, or in the course of your explanation, you discussed WAL files,
That is correct.
SQLite database,
Yes.
plist database,
Yes.
knowledge C database.
Yeah. plist is not a database. Just it's a structure. So just a small correction.
Thank you for the correction. Opening tabs and closing tabs, correct?
Yes.
And other issues related to your analysis of the phone extraction, correct?
Would you call them issues? Or
Well, maybe that's a bad word to use.
She's like, don't call my work issues. There's no issues. Well, there is an issue.
Other elements of
elements? Fair enough. Yes. Yes.
I'm really not trying to trick you. I know I wouldn't be able to. Would you agree with me that another simple explanation for that 2:27 a.m. timestamp was that the user of that iPhone conducted that search at or before 2:27 a.m.?
Can you rephrase, please?
I'm going to phrase it the same way and hope I can
Repeat
get an
it.
answer.
Repeat it,
Sure,
please.
Thank you. Would you agree with me that another simple explanation for that 2:27 a.m. timestamp was that the user of that iPhone conducted that search at or before 2:27 a.m. on January 29th of 2022?
That timestamp is not indicative of a time of search. So the question is difficult to answer because I can't say that that timestamp tells me anything about the time of search.
Okay. So your
There you go. She cannot tell you it did not happen. She cannot tell you that it did. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Or, as I take your answer, you're not denying that the timestamp and whatever you get from that timestamp doesn't rule out that the Google search was done at or before 2:27 a.m., correct?
If I'm understanding your question, there was a double negative, so I just want to clarify. The question is if the timestamp could exist because of a search happening at that time?
No.
Or, no,
I guess
okay.
what I'm saying is your analysis of the phone does not rule out that the user of that phone performed that Google search at or before 2:27 a.m.
There is no indication of a Google search at or before 2:27 a.m.
But again, I'm getting to whether you can rule that out, ma'am. That's really the crux of my question. Can you rule out that the user of that phone conducted that search at or before 2:27 a.m. on January 29th?
There is a very unlikely possibility based on the fact that there is no evidence that the search occurred before that time. That's just like saying that the user searched for pandas at 2:27 a.m. Could you rule that out? I can't rule out something that doesn't exist.
All right, well,
It doesn't exist in the data that you have, ma'am.
would agree with me that with regard to your analysis of this phone extraction, you were given very specific instructions in terms of what to look at, correct?
Correct. I had a very limited scope in this analysis.
And who was it?
Whoa. That sounds like an answer, doesn't it? That she could have said beforehand, I didn't have the full scope. Could have saved a lot of explanation and a lot of people's time, right?
Was it that gave you that limited scope?
That scope was relayed to me by Detective Tully.
Okay. And Detective Tully instructed you specifically to
Oh,
look
boy.
at part of the phone extraction that dealt with the Safari search history. correct?
Safari search history specific to January 29th, 2022. That is correct.
And he instructed you not to look at anything else on the phone, correct?
I looked at related artifacts such as such as what was being done at that time, the phone being on, the phone being used, but not anything else outside of that, correct?
And you were not instructed, for
Uh-oh.
instance, to look at other user activity on the phone, including examining call logs on the phone, correct?
Correct.
And you would agree with me that if you were allowed or
Uh-oh.
instructed to examine the call logs, that could reveal deletion of calls that morning, correct?
Of
Objection.
course. Well,
Okay, the objection sustained.
Thank you, Nick.
Any
Now, David Yanetti did a dirty right there. That was irrelevant to the expert.
No, Your Honor, no.
That was totally irrelevant. But I get why he does it. Look, y'all gonna be shady? I'm gonna get some jabs in. Jackson has done it over and over again. I'm not mad. Bev is mad. The prosecution's mad. Jim McCabe's mad. Trooper Proctor's mad. But I'm not mad. Cat's out of the bag, right? All right. I want to do one or two more things before I leave. Because dinner is about to be ready because Mr. Eve is an amazing cook. I really do hate talking about other creators. Unless it's like direct shade. Or there's beef there. And there's no beef, really. There's no beef here. I am just a peon on this platform. But is Icky Mill okay? Have you seen the coverage and the Twitter or X tweets? I'm concerned. And he's like, why? Because I don't follow what everybody else follows? No. It's not that. It's posting things like Jim Jones and his victims as a method of getting a point across about free Karen Reed people. As if people who believe Karen Reed is innocent are these cult zombies, as his friend Yellow Cottage Tail says. It makes me wonder, does somebody, like, how much would it take to buy your platform off to get a point across for others? I don't know. A lot of people are questioning his motive. A lot of people are asking what the hell's going on. A lot of people have unsubscribed. Look at Social Blade, but there's a lot of people that subscribe. So I don't know what he's doing here. I don't get it. Don't understand. And the brawls that have the stuff that's coming out because of some of the things he said, and people are like, what the fuck? Like Brandy Churchwell accusing her of lying to her audience. I was really shocked at this. I think Brandy Churchwell has been a damn good creator covering this content, and it shows in her numbers, right? And so the brawl is because of something unrelated that she said to someone and how she felt maybe at the time conflicts with the point at hand, she is being dragged on and dogged on for no reason. Yeah, abrupt change in the post, right? I don't understand why it has to go this way. So what's going on with Ickenville? I've never seen it. I mean, I think that he is just controversial as a person. That's what he likes to do. But I don't understand in this position why he's going after people that have nothing to do with Turtle Boy or anything like that. It's almost like he's simping for one of the alleged witness intimidated persons of the Turtle Boy thing. Like, you didn't even follow the case. Why are you jumping in now? Are you a shell now? Like, it's looking a little weird. It's looking a little sus. But he's going after, like, people that... It's irrelevant what he's saying to them and about them in regards to how they believe. And the beef between him and another creator. Like, I don't get it. I just don't. So, there's lots more bras, but I think I ran out of time because I'm long-winded. You know me. I want to end off with something funny. I had like 3 other bras I wanted to talk about, but that's okay. There is a Auntie Bev like parody. Have you seen her? She looks just like her. And you must see this. You must see this. I think it's funny.
Callbacks for Cnt'd Confidential. Thank you again for coming back in today. And whenever you're ready, slate your name, please, and then you can go right in.
Maureen Hancock called back for the role of Judge Beverly Cannoni.
And action.
Morning, jurors. We came in early today because we had some things that we had to discuss, and you couldn't be here for that. But one day this week, we're going to bring you back in, and then we're going to send you right back out, and then bring you right back in again, because we need to go over what we need to go over. So we're going to give you maybe 7 breaks that day, and but we'll figure it out. It's going to be one day this week or no days this week. But we'll see you back in here, and then you're going to go right back out. So, good morning, jurors. Good morning, Mr. Yanetti. Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
She looks just like her.
Good morning, Ms. Reed. Good morning, Mr. Lally. Good morning, Flag. Good morning, Cabbage Head. Good morning, Avocado. Good morning, Plant. Good morning, Turtle Boy. How did you get in here?
Hilarious.
Today was one hell of a week. It's Judge Bev here, Auntie Bev to you. I'm about to get on 93 South down the Cape. I'm going to go to Dennis, at Dennisport. And today I went a little bit over, about 15 minutes over, but I couldn't take it. I saw Lally, like, get a little Lally gag in there. That was impressive. And I said to Jenn,
yeah, it's insane how much she looks like her. Jesus. Like, I thought it was her on TikTok. I was like, oh no. Oh no, she finally went to the talk. Oh no. There is another one, and I cannot remember the name. Judy? Can't remember. Turtle Boy had it on his live. Anyway. Crazy, right? She looks just like her, I swear. Like, she would be the, I bet she's related in some way. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I will be live tomorrow with Summer Wells. It's going to be 3 years tomorrow. And we need to discuss some things. There was an update that I have still yet to look at. regarding, I think, WJHL. And I saw Don Wells or the Wells family page do a thank you to them. And on Twitter, it's weird. So I'm going to look at it. Guys, thank you so much for being here again. Hit that like button on your way out. If you're on the replay, put in the comments what you think about Jenn McCabe's Google search and what I presented to you guys today. You know, as I say, drink your water, hug yourself, your babies, fur babies, grandbabies. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you on the next live. Bye.